Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into something incredibly relatable and, let's be honest, often frustrating our relationship with food, especially when it feels like it's calling the shots,
Yeah.
instead of us. So if you've ever found yourself thinking, okay, I know exactly what I should be doing, but I can't seem to do it, or felt that undeniable pull towards eating when you're not even physically hungry,
Right.
then this deep dive is absolutely for you. Our source material today comes from excerpts of the book Conquer Your Food Addiction, the Ehrlich 8-Step Program for Permanent Weight Loss by Caryl Ehrlich.
Yeah.
And her background is, well, it's pretty compelling. She's kept 50 pounds off for over 25 years, successfully, and guided thousands through her program.
And right up front, it's really important to say what this book isn't. It makes this crucial distinction.
Okay.
This is emphatically not a traditional diet book. Like, zero meal plans, no calorie counting, no forbidden foods, nothing about pills or supplements.
Right.
The whole foundation, it's a behavioral approach. It's all about learning how you interact with food and your habits, not just what you're supposed to eat.
Okay, so behavioral, that's the key.
That's the key.
So our mission today, then, is to really distill the practical strategies, the kind of powerful insights from these sources. We want to help you grasp how you can actually change those deep-seated habits around food.
Yeah.
Get past that feeling of just knowing the info, but not being able to make it work.
Exactly. It sort of bypasses all the usual nutrition advice and gets right to the core of why we do what we do with food, even when it's working against us. It's the how of changing behavior. And the source material, it doesn't really pull any punches. It calls compulsive overeating a full-blown addiction.
Wow. Addiction. That's strong.
It is. And the reasoning is quite powerful.
Yeah.
You keep doing it despite clear negative consequences. There's often denial about the impact. And you feel genuinely out of control, right? Around certain foods or in certain situations.
Yeah, that feeling of being out of control. And the book gives this almost surprising little detail to show how small things add up. It points out that eating just one package of Tic Tacs every single day adds up to over 7.5 pounds of intake a year.
Wow.
It's this stark reminder. If you swallowed it, you ate it, and it all adds up. If it's not water, it's food. And that simple phrase, if it's not water, it's food, that becomes a real cornerstone.
Yeah.
It just forces you to be aware of everything else that passes your lips.
Everything.
And the whole approach, it's aiming for this massive shift away from what the book calls most people's eating style. Mindless, unconscious, thoughtless, automatic, just autopilot eating.
Right.
The goal is to cultivate mindfulness, consciousness, thoughtfulness. It's about, interrupting that automatic pilot, recognizing the habit when it's happening, and creating that little bit of space to choose something different.
That must resonate with so many people listening. The author, she shares her own story, and it sounds incredibly relatable.
The embarrassment, hiding her body, avoiding photos, and that awful moment when her jeans split right in the seat.
Ooh, yeah.
She carried that extra 50 pounds for 7 years, feeling trapped, feeling out of control.
And her struggle, it really highlights why just focusing on what to eat, traditional diets, why they often fail for this specific problem.
How so?
Well, diets give you rules about food, right? But they don't really equip you to handle the powerful urges, the triggers, the automatic behaviors that are actually driving the inappropriate eating.
That makes sense. They don't address the why or the how.
Exactly. Plus, diets usually have an end date, don't they?
Yeah.
This program, it's presented as a fundamental, ongoing shift in approach, not something you just do for a while and then stop.
So if it's habit, not some external force or lack of willpower,
Yeah.
how does the program say we even begin to untangle what those habits are? What's the very first step?
Okay, so that's where the logbook comes in. It's absolutely fundamental.
The food log.
Well, yes, but it's presented as more than just recording what you eat. It's a critical tool for gaining self-awareness. It helps you see the direct link between your food choices and your weight, sure. But also, it identifies which foods you choose most often. And crucially, it reveals when you're most vulnerable to overeating. Is there a pattern? Weekends, holidays, that moment you walk in the door from work.
Okay.
Putting it down in writing just makes those oft unconscious patterns visible. Suddenly you see it.
Right. You can't change what you don't see. There's a specific story in the book about a participant, Bobby, that really brings this home.
Oh, yeah. The Bobby story is great.
He tracked his thoughts, right, and realized he thought about food. Get this, 42 times in just 3 hours one evening.
Just sitting there.
Purely out of boredom, because he was sitting near the fridge. And just moving his phone, His boredom distraction out of the kitchen broke the pattern.
It's such a clear aha moment, isn't it, about how automatic and cue-driven it is. And that ties right into the book's concept of ritualized behavior. You know, we create rituals for everything. Morning routines, how we set up our desk, often so we can just function on autopilot. The source uses this interesting term, narcotize, to describe how these rituals can also be powerful distractions. They help us avoid dealing with uncomfortable feelings or thoughts.
And eating becomes one of those rituals.
It can become one of the most potent of these automatic distracting rituals. Absolutely.
And these rituals, they're tied closely to trigger situations, right?
Exactly. While emotional states, lonely, tired, bored, frustrated, angry, those are classic triggers we all know.
Sure.
But the book really highlights how external cues are just as powerful. Specific places, times of day, certain people, even just seeing or smelling particular foods.
Like the example of Sally's car just seeming to drive itself towards that food place on her way home.
Yeah, or that very specific craving for dry noodles that only hits you when you're inside a Chinese restaurant.
Right, I know that feeling.
These are presented as deeply ingrained, conditioned responses. Behaviors linked to cues often learned years and years ago. You're reacting to the cue based on old programming, not necessarily because your body needs fuel right then.
Okay, so you react automatically.
Pretty much. So the program moves from this really critical process of identifying your personal habits, rituals, triggers, to then actively implementing tools to build new patterns.
Okay, let's get into the tools. We've identified the problem. We know how to spot our patterns using the logbook. What are some of the core tools for actually building those new habits? The book starts with something super basic, but gives it huge importance.
Water.
Yes, water. It recommends a gallon or more daily. That's like 8, 10 plus 8-ounce glasses.
Wow, a gallon plus. And that's in addition to other drinks.
In addition. And the emphasis is constant because its functions are just so vital. Lubricating joints, hydrating cells, flushing toxins. And it often reveals that what we think is hunger might just be fatigue from dehydration or simply thirst.
And it hammers home that core rule again. If it's not water, it's food.
Oh, right.
So this means flavored water, tea, coffee, soda, sparkling water. Those are all considered beverages. You track them, but they don't count as water for this specific purpose. Only plain flat water counts.
Flat water. Got it.
The examples of Beiling and Donna Perrin drinking only hot water, it shows just how strictly the program defines water.
That rule, if it's not water, it's food, is stark.
Yeah.
But very clear. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Differentiating between hunger versus urge. The book makes a huge deal out of this.
It's a critical separation, absolutely key. True hunger, it's described as this physical sensation. It demands feeding. It generally builds over time, meaning you probably can't just wait hours and hours to eat if you're truly hungry. An urge, though, that's typically more of a mental or emotional pull, and it often passes within just a few minutes if you can successfully distract yourself.
And the book gives you a really powerful question to help figure out which one it is, right, in the moment.
It does. It asks you, am I hungry enough to create a relaxing, pleasant meal lasting at least 20 minutes or more, consisting of food on a plate to be eaten with utensils?
Okay, that's a very specific question.
It's the acid test.
Yeah.
If the honest answer is no, like if you just want to grab something quick, stand and eat it out of the package, the book says you're likely feeling an urge, not true hunger.
So that's the signal.
That's the signal. Engage in a different repatterning activity instead of eating. The idea of setting a timer for 20 minutes and just distracting yourself. That's a practical way to test if the urge actually passes.
And that question leads perfectly into another core strategy, the 20-minute meal.
Yes.
This isn't just some random number, is it? It's a whole practice of slowing way, way down.
Exactly. It involves putting your food on an actual plate using utensils.
Yeah.
Specifically contrasting it with finger foods.
What finger food?
The source says they're often eaten so fast you barely even realize you're doing it. So, with the 20-minute meal, you put your fork down between bites, you sip water, you chew thoroughly, you really try to savor the taste and texture.
And there's a reason for the 20 minutes.
There is. The science behind it is simple but profound. It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach's stretch receptors and all those hormonal signals of fullness, of satiation, to actually reach your brain.
Ah, okay.
So if you finish eating way before that 20-minute mark, you can easily eat way more food than your body actually needed before it even gets the message that it's full.
You eat past hunger without realizing it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the book emphasizes that practicing this makes it feel comfortable over time, even when you're out eating with others. You just learn to pace yourself, observe the surroundings, join the conversation.
That makes so much sense. So the program is adding structure around how you eat. It also introduces meal parameters and item counting. Can you break those down?
Sure. The book categorizes foods. There's a middle section, think proteins, non-starchy vegetables, some starches, nutrient-dense stuff.
Okay.
Then there's the top and bottom, which contain what it calls fillers: bread, beverage, dessert, and alcohol, BBDA for short.
UBDA fillers.
Right. And eating only fillers without anything from that middle section that's deemed inappropriate use of food. A no-meal meal, they call it.
A no-meal meal, okay.
A fourth meal is allowed if you're genuinely hungry between your main meals, but it's specifically a small, nutrient-dense item from that middle section, not just anything.
Got it. And item counting.
Item counting is another awareness tool. The book points out that a really common reason people don't lose weight, even when they think they're eating less, is just consuming too many items in each meal. Too much variety or volume at once. So the program suggests aiming for a specific smaller number of items per meal, maybe 1-2 items at breakfast, 1-3 at lunch, for example, and sticking to that consistently helps build awareness and regulate the sheer volume of food.
Okay, let's focus on those fillers, BBDA, for a second. Bread, beverage, dessert, alcohol. Why does the book single them out like that?
Well, they're described as foods that fill you up temporarily but do not nourish your body, in the same way that middle category does.
Empty calories, basically.
Sort of, but it's more about the pattern. Frequent, unchecked consumption of these fillers is linked to energy spiking and crashing, and also building tolerance, where you find you need more and more to get the same effect or satisfaction.
And tracking them.
Yeah.
That seems to be where people have big realizations. You mentioned a filler chart.
Absolutely. The stories in the book are quite telling. There's the woman who thought bread was her main issue, but the chart revealed she was having 12 salads a week. Seems okay, right? But also drinking coffee almost constantly.
Yeah.
Or the man who tallied up 16 alcoholic drinks in 1 week. Or the author herself realizing she was eating 28 desserts a week. That's 4 a day.
4 desserts a day.
It shows it's often not just the occasional treat, but the daily, unconscious pattern of consuming these things that really adds up. The strategy offered is skip and scatter, consciously choosing not to have a filler at every single meal and varying when you do choose to have them.
Skip and scatter.
Okay.
Another big area is portion size. The book says people struggling with compulsive eating often lack those internal boundaries around how much is actually enough.
Right. So the program suggests establishing external boundaries, at least initially, aiming for consistent portion sizes, maybe 4 ounces of protein as an example. And the practice of eating slower, that 20-minute meal, is key here too, because it allows you to actually register satisfaction with a smaller amount of food.
You feel full sooner with less.
Exactly. The anecdotes about Renee and Sam are powerful.
Yeah.
They were genuinely shocked. They felt full and satisfied with significantly less food on their plates than they were used to. And the book emphasizes leaving food on your plate is not wasteful. It's actually practicing self-care, practicing restraint, and crucially, it warns against feeling deprived because that often backfires. It makes you feel justified in binging later.
Don't set yourself up for failure.
Oh, okay.
So once you know your patterns, you have these tools, how do you actually make this work in the real world? The book really stresses planning ahead.
Planning is presented as absolutely essential. It reduces food anxiety and helps you stay on track. Writing down a meal plan for the day or even the week, it helps you make conscious choices ahead of time.
Instead of reacting in the moment.
Precisely. And it ensures you actually have the planned foods available. It also guides you when you're eating out. You know you can probably find a stir fry or a pasta primavera that fits your plan instead of feeling lost and just defaulting to old habits.
Right.
And having programmed food readily available at work, when you travel, that's highlighted as critical to avoid impulse eating when options are limited or triggers are high.
And when those urges or old triggers do pop up, which, let's face it, they will.
Yeah.
The program offers various repatterning techniques.
Yes, these are your active alternatives. What you do when you feel that pull to eat but know you aren't truly hungry, they fall into a few categories.
Okay.
There's mental repatterning. That involves conscious thoughts, repeating positive affirmations like, I can do it, Visualizing yourself at your goal weight, reviewing your progress notes.
Positive self-talk.
Exactly. Then there's physical techniques. Using movement. Go for a walk. Change your location. Remember Bobby moving the phone?
Yeah?
Take a different route home to avoid a trigger spot. Or even simple breathing exercises or stretching. Just changing your physical state.
Makes sense. What else?
Verbal repatterning. This is about practicing saying no thank you confidently and gracefully to others, using phrases like I'm fine or I've had enough or that looks wonderful but honestly I couldn't eat another bite.
That can be hard.
It can be. Practice makes it easier. The author shares this powerful story about the first time she said no to dessert in a restaurant and how freeing it felt.
Wow. Okay, mental, physical, verbal.
Yeah.
Any others?
Yes, relaxing, refreshing techniques. This is basically pure self-care. Taking a bath, reading a book, getting a manicure, listening to music, just sitting quietly for a few minutes. These are presented as food-free ways to comfort or distract yourself. They help you avoid using food just to cope with discomfort or boredom. The book provides really long lists of examples for each category, lots of ideas. So applying all these tools, it means navigating the real world, which definitely presents specific challenges the book addresses head-on.
Right, like dining out. The book warns about those common traps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The breadbasket that just appears.
Right. The prix-fixe menu tempting you to eat extra courses you don't need, the happy hour buffet.
Yeah.
The strategies are pretty straightforward. Plan ahead, order a la carte if possible, practice leaving food on your plate, and really focus on drinking that water.
And what about parties and holidays? Those feel like minefields for a lot of people.
Oh, definitely flagged as high-trigger environments. The program's advice is super practical, though. First, don't skip meals all day to save calories.
Really?
Yeah. Eat your planned meals beforehand so you arrive feeling stable, not completely ravenous and ready to inhale everything.
Okay, that makes sense.
Plan your approach to the event in writing. Detail your food strategy, how many items, which fillers maybe, what repatterning techniques you'll use. Wear a belt as a physical reminder.
A belt. Interesting.
Stay busy with non-food stuff, talk to people, dance, move around. Be mindful of alcohol because it lowers your resolve.
Sure does.
And the book offers this really powerful reframe. No one cares what you eat or drink. Really, people are focused on themselves.
That's probably true.
It highlights this anecdote about Ray E., who literally prayed for rain to cancel a summer house party because the food situation felt so overwhelming to her.
Wow, that Ray E story is intense. But it perfectly captures how powerful those food triggers can feel in certain situations, doesn't it?
It really shows the depth of the conditioning, yeah. And the program stresses that travel and vacation are not times to just ditch everything.
You don't leave the program at home.
Exactly. The book urges you to bring your home base, your scale, your logbook, your plan with you. Pack your own program-friendly food and water, especially if you know options might be limited. And use those verbal repatterning skills to politely decline unwanted food or drinks when offered.
This all sounds like a pretty significant shift in mindset, not just behavior. The book talks about it being a journey, right? And the importance of how you front it internally.
Absolutely. This isn't presented as some instant fix or magic bullet. It's framed as an ongoing process. You're retraining years, sometimes decades, of really ingrained habits.
And that means you have to confront unrealistic expectations.
Totally. The book notes that weight gain was often slow, that creeping weight that adds up over time. So expecting weight loss to be like a high-speed elevator going straight down is just unrealistic.
Right.
And it heavily, heavily cautions against the trap of perfectionism, that I blew it mentality, where one slip-up means you've failed completely and might as well just give up.
Which is so easy to fall into.
So easy. The program emphasizes focusing on small, incremental improvements. Acknowledge your attempts, your small wins, not just the perceived failures. Give yourself credit for trying.
Yeah, giving yourself credit seems key. The book introduces this concept of quantum leaps.
Quantum leaps, like physics.
Not quite. It means recognizing specific tangible accomplishments that show you're changing your behavior, even if the scale isn't moving dramatically yet. Did you leave food on your plate for the first time? Did you successfully say no to a trigger food? Did you brush your teeth instead of having that evening snack?
The small wins. Exactly. Are your clothes fitting better? Are you feeling less self-hatred? Listing these achievements daily and reviewing them reinforces the new behaviors. It builds confidence. Hey, I did that today. I can definitely do it again tomorrow. The list of examples in the book is really quite inspiring.
And there's this powerful visualization technique too. Feed the smaller person.
Yes, it's about holding that vision of your goal. And consciously making choices that serve the person you want to become, who is already emerging, already becoming smaller.
And clothes are part of that.
Clothes become really important feedback. Altering them, getting rid of the too big items, wearing belts, it helps make the smaller size your new reality, your new normal.
Hmm.
And one small but really significant piece of advice that stuck with me was about accepting compliments.
How so?
The book says just say, thank you, period. Don't qualify it. Don't negate your progress with a, oh, thanks, but I still have so far to go. Just own it.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for becoming smaller.
Take responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes. And tying back to that blowing it trap, the program is very clear on consistency and persistence, isn't it?
Extremely clear. You will slip up. You're human. It's going to happen. But the critical message is you didn't blow anything.
Okay.
The absolutely crucial action is to get right back on track at the very next meal. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, the next meal.
Immediately.
Immediately. The quicker you return to the program principles, the less damage is done and the easier it is to regain momentum. Every single attempt, even if it feels imperfect, is eroding that old habit and strengthening the new one.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the core message from these sources, it feels really clear. This is a program that aims to move beyond temporary diet fixes and get right to the heart of how we behave around food. It's about building this profound self-awareness, knowing your triggers, your rituals, your habits, and then actively, consciously choosing a different response. One meal, one bite, one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's about regaining control and consciously nurturing that smaller, more confident person you're striving to be.
And the source material powerfully reframes the whole struggle. It's not about a lack of willpower. It's the result of ingrained, often unconscious habit.
Right.
The power comes from building awareness tools like the logbook help with that. And most importantly, taking action. Swift, purposeful, immediate action when you identify an urge that isn't true hunger. Even those really small, consistent changes build up. They erode those old automatic patterns over time.
You know, we've spent this time exploring how deeply our mindless habits and conditioned responses can shape our relationship with food, often leaving us feeling kind of powerless, right, to change behaviors that work against us.
Yeah.
It really makes you think, where else in our lives might we be operating on autopilot, driven by old rituals, specific triggers or urges, rather than by conscious, intentional choice?
That's a great question. How could applying the same level of mindfulness, this rigorous self-awareness, and this focused behavioral strategy, identifying the pattern, acknowledging the trigger, choosing a deliberate alternative action, how could that potentially impact other areas where we feel stuck, or out of control, or just maybe not living as intentionally as we could be?
Something to reflect on. We really encourage you to think about your own patterns, perhaps starting with food, sure, but maybe looking beyond that too.
And maybe consider, just out of all the strategies and insights we've talked about from this deep dive into Caryl Ehrlich's behavioral approach, which single idea resonates most? Which one might you try implementing, maybe even starting today?